before I say that, I just want to say that this is a guy who I've had a chance to work with in a lot of different capacities that were not directly connected to him serving as a board member, but indirectly connected to him serving as a board member. And it's just been a pleasure to work with him and see the fact that at the end of the day, his passion is for students. You know, in spite of all the different things that he may have to address and be faced with in his capacity, his bottom line is what's best for students. This is Steve Zimmer, and Steve is a 17-year veteran teacher and community activist. He joined Teach for America in 1992 and worked as an ESL teacher at Marshall High School in Silver Lake. At Marshall, Steve developed innovative programs such as the Comprehensive Student Support Center, which provides free medical services to students and their families. He also founded the Elysian Valley United Community Services Center, a community-owned and operated agency that provides a continuation school program, an after-school program, recreation and enrichment programs for the community. Steve continues his work in serving youth and their families as school board member, elected first in 2009 and again in 2013. I'd like to introduce to some and present to others, Mr. Steve Zimmer. Come on down, buddy.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So usually I have interesting excuses for being late. Today's was today's. I thought I was going to be talking to you about how I got in last night at midnight, but that was only part of it. Good morning, Dr. How are you? But on my way here, it was a great kind of humanitarian moment. Somebody's dog got away from them on the 405 and got hit and kept running. And like a caravan of cars, like on the 405 in the midst of rush hour, like formed this kind of guard around the dog until a couple of us finally stopped and rendered aid. And it's just nice to know that in the midst of rush hour, people can still stop and stop everything that they're doing. And it's moments like that that kind of remind you that this is a great city that we're all lucky to live in. I did mention that I got in a little bit after midnight last night. I got to spend the last week and a half or so on the East Coast, and you may hear me use the word share a lot today. And for those of you who have been waiting for over 5 years for me to have some kind of epiphany or recalculation or rebirth, that's not exactly why I'm going to be using that word a lot today. It's because for the last 4 days I've had pretty much sole responsibility for my 5-year-old nephew Sam, and we've been working a lot on share and share and share. And this has been kind of like my sister's way of saying, like, yeah, you think you've got a tough job running the schools in LA, let me give you 4 years and you can really thank me for being the sibling who had the kids first and got mom and dad off your back. And so I'm going to be using the word share. I'm going to be using the word share a lot today because that's just been my vocabulary. And we also kind of, because he's very much at an age where testing the boundaries would be an understatement. Those of you who have 5-year-olds, you know this well. So I decided to do I figured since we were doing this in LA, I would pilot a little bit of our restorative justice techniques with Sam. That didn't work incredibly well, I have to tell you. And doing a friendship circle with like your 5-year-old nephew, your 77-year-old mom, your 90-year-old dad, that is not something I would suggest to people at all. That didn't work too well. I want to thank LMU for bringing us together today, and I hope that we will follow LAUSD that we will follow LMU's lead in having the courage to talk about the very difficult issues that are involved in the subject that we're talking about today. The very difficult issues that come up when we're talking about sharing, and really not the euphemistic, not the easy kind of sharing, but the real definition of sharing, which, trust me, ask Sam, it's really hard to share. And we have to acknowledge that. There are also great things that can come out of sharing. Not just stickers of great job and things like that, but really very positive things that can come from the richness and the passion that all of the professional educators, all of the parents, all of the students in our shared communities bring to the table. And if we can figure out a way to work honestly through the difficult parts of sharing, then I think we will be positioned to finally, after some very, very difficult years, enjoy the rewards and the benefits of sharing. You saw some examples right now in the panel of where this can work and where this has worked. And we're going to be talking about some of those examples throughout the course of the day. It would be less than honest, however, to pretend that that has been the case everywhere and all the time. We know that it hasn't. And I hope that we can talk through some of the more painful parts of this, honestly and openly and with trust today. I want to thank Dean Shane Martin, Maggie Darren, the great staff at LMU for being the first, being the pioneers to bring us together. I also want to thank Dr. Maureen Kindle, my friend, my mentor, who has been the first to really bring the charter and the LAUSD schools together to share best practices in instruction, in student support. I guess what I'm getting at is that LMU has really become the place where people can come together, where people can get beyond the weeds of the day-to-day, where people can look to the benefits and the rewards of sharing. And I just want to thank the LMU School of Education. I want to thank Shane Martin, Darren, Maggie, Dr. Kindle, all who have been part of getting us together. And LMU has really played a role that we hope the university partner can play in our community. Not only when things are good, but when things are tough as well. I want to thank all the LAUSD staff who have come, given their time today to be here. And I want to preview kind of 5 ideas that that I'm going to be talking a little bit about in the sessions later on today, 10:30 and then again at 1. Because I think that it's time that we take the things that we learned, and from a leadership level, from board level, from district level, begin to codify what we've seen as the kind of best practices. And let me just kind of, and also some of the real challenges that we have, that I believe that we have a role as policymakers to address. Some of them are specific to the West Side. and in my district, some of them are very general. The first is taking leadership on the question of inventory. And we've been limited, I think, in our discussion about inventory to questions about what is set aside and what's not set aside. And what we need to do as leaders, I believe, is really look out into the future and understand that the growth that we have approved as policymakers exceeds the inventory that we will have. And we need to get creative about what inventory means and about how to leverage the different types of really usable inventory that exist in the LAUSD region. The second is affective preferences. I think that we know that on average, not always, but on average, non-competitive co-locations are simply work better. Not always. You saw an example of a greater like co-location that works very well. We have examples of those. But when we look across the district to the most successful partnerships, most of them are at non-competitive co-located campuses. That means a facilities investment, because we have to make sure that we are addressing the real concerns that families have about non-alike age groups sharing a campus. It can work. We've done it. We need to be policy leaders on making sure that that can happen. Second, our preferences for demographically congruent co-locations. And that's a really tough conversation, but it's a conversation we need to have. And we need to have the courage to have that conversation, especially here in my district. And if we have the courage as adults to have that conversation, we can maximize the optimism and the real future of our city around issues of race and class that's represented in our kids, who look at these issues very differently than we do. The fourth is that we have to be realistic and we have to create incentives for host schools. We have to make the host school experience a better experience, materially better experience. Meaning that we can, as policymakers, make preference for M&O priorities at co-located school sites. We already do that informally. We should codify that. And there should be material incentives. Incentives is maybe the wrong word, but there should be benefits, real benefits that come before the rewards that we're talking about that are more intrinsic. Because as we all know, we're all human, that sometimes the right here and now benefit you need before you can get to the intrinsic benefit that comes later from a successful co-location. And the last issue that I just want to say, I'll close with this, is this is a leadership question. And I want to, first and foremost, say to you, all of you, LAUSD schools, charter partners, I've not been successful as a leader on this issue. And leadership comes from all levels. And my working together with LMU today, in planning this, being part of these sessions is what is the beginning of my commitment to be a better leader as it relates to Prop 39. And I hope that we all can commit to do that. Because if this is going to work, and it must work, it involves leadership on every level. On the principal level, you want to know what makes really great co-locations work? Two really good principals working together and trying to make it work. On the teacher level, on the parent level, on the community level, and yes, on the student level. This is a leadership challenge that calls us to reach for our higher angels. It calls on us to really have the courage to be open and honest, have the courage to talk about the difficult issues, have the courage to try to find solutions that are collaborative and cooperative. And the secret to collaborative and cooperative solutions that I've learned over these last 5 years is that everybody gives a little bit, and everybody focuses on the solution. Everybody remembers that the one thing that we can all agree on, no matter what, is no child asked to be in a situation of a combative co-location. Not one. No parents asked for it either. And none would ever choose it. And if we can focus on that, if we can focus on them, I think we can find those higher angels, get to the solutions that we need to get to. And to close with the line, paraphrasing the line of Dr. Kindle's book, the children are waiting for us to do this. It can start right here today. And what I pledge to you, it's not just symbolic, it's not just because of what happened on the freeway. My sleeves are rolled up and I'm ready to work. Thank you very much and have a great day.